Black Ops 2 released in 2012 and was not only an amazing game, but it also took the gaming community by storm. I got into Black Ops 2 a year late and I enjoyed its campaign and multiplayer. However, one thing has always bothered me about the zombies. When I first started playing Call of Duty Zombies, it was in Black Ops 1, but I later graduated to Black Ops 2. I initially thought the zombies was amazing. However, as I played the maps more and got more invested into the story, I started noticing something was up. And that was everything. I've always considered Black Ops 2 Zombies not only the worst zombie season from a narrative perspective, despite it not having all that apothecary crap introduced, but also the worst period of Call of Duty Zombies. Quality wise, not community wise. Trust me, you have Black Ops 4 for that. I won't be reviewing the maps in this video. I might make a nod to a map's quality because I have played them all before and my old thoughts don't look to have been misguided by youth because of how common my opinion was. But I still have to be fair and not review them since I have no gameplay and I haven't played any of them in 5 years. I will be covering Origins in detail after this video because it meets both of those requirements, and I'll also still have a rating for these maps so they can factor into the final rating for all of Treyarch's maps Call of Duty Zombies, but I'll do that in the Origins review because this is a story analysis / review hybrid and I don't want to get overcomplicated. Last disclaimer, but I won't be taking a crack at Mob of the Dead story. I want to talk about the story for Victis, and discussing Mob of the Dead story which will distract from the overall discussion and take too long. However, it is not only my favorite Call of Duty Zombies map, but the story is brilliant. I wish I could talk about it, but it can't fit into this discussion and I don't want to make 2 story analysis videos. Now that those disclaimers out the way, we can start this thing. Welcome everyone to my review on the Victis section of Call of Duty Zombies story. In this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on the background of the Victis characters in the story of Transit, Die Rise, and Buried. These 3 maps focus on 4 new characters joined into the aftermath of Moon, where, if you recall, Tank, Takio, Nikolai, Victorfin, Samantha, and Maxis accidentally blew up the Earth. In the Moon review, I forgot to say the reason Maxis launched the missiles to Earth was to blow up several Group 925 stations to attempt to weaken Victorfin's power, but the missiles missed and destroyed Earth in the process. Yeah, our characters may have made a tiny oopsie. So now we have to go ahead to begin discussing the Victis storyline, so we can finally begin. I'm not going to sit here and claim the classic zombie characters in World at War to Black Ops 1 are really deep and complex, because other than maybe Victorfin, they're not in the slightest. They're mainly just foreign stereotypes with little to no backgrounds. However, I don't enjoy them because they're rich of development. They're just fun and work in a bizarre goofy mode like Call of Duty Zombies. All of their quotes are funny and entertaining, and they work well as entertaining avatars to play Call of Duty Zombies do. So surely these characters can surpass the original characters, since the originals were just supposed to be comedic relief and barely anything else. Well, no. The answer is no. In fact, these characters are almost unbearable to be around, let alone play as. Let me go through these guys one by one. Martin was a scientist who was part of an experimental nuclear site that most COD fans will know instantly as Nuketown. He was part of the management there when a bomb goes off, killing everyone on site except for Martin. 2 groups of CDC officers are sent at different times to investigate. The first team is overrun by zombies and the other is nuked by one of the rockets from the moon. Martin survived all of the zombies' nuclear blast by hiding in his bunker, and he leaves after all of the chaos. He meets another survivor by the name of Misty, and the 2 survive until they're picked up by 2 more survivors. Martin is a science geek who always speaks in an articulated manner, and I don't like him. He's just annoying. He never shuts up, and he's way too much of a wimp to even be likable. And he doesn't have any interesting backstory. He's just a scientist who worked at Nuketown. Nothing much to see here. Next is Stillinger. After the world fell into chaos, Stillinger joined a group called The Flesh, a cannibalistic group of survivors who ate zombies to not starve, since from my knowledge, the only way to get infected is to be bitten. This is actually a really interesting concept that I've never seen in any zombie story before. However, this is even more interesting, since if you eat zombies, it allows for Victorfin, who is now in control of the zombies, to be able to communicate with you. I'll discuss that situation more later. Stillinger meets another survivor named Rushman. The 2 hijack a bus equipped with an AI robotic driver, and they pick up Martin and Misty. Now imagine a character whose only trait other than story significance is to talk loudly like this to get a laugh out of you. Is it working? I really don't like Stillinger because he, like Martin, he never shuts up and he's unfunny. His backstory is pretty cool though. Next is Rushman, who is a former Broken Arrow employee. I know you guys probably don't know what Broken Arrow is yet, but I'll explain later. Due to a reason I don't want to explain yet, Westman has amnesia and he's a homeless dude who just happened to find Stillinger. Together, the two hijack the bus I mentioned before and they pick up Martin and Misty. Westman is the old man of the group and I don't know what else to say about him. His quotes are unfunny and he doesn't have an interesting backstory. Well, his backstory does get expanded on in a future map. Alright, so what map is Alpha Omega? That map releases 6 years after this game. Okay, so Westman is just not a cool character. And finally, there's Misty. We don't know anything about Misty except she used to be a farm girl, and that's it. She's just a tough female of the group, and she's just a country stereotype who shouts more than Stillinger and makes unfunny joke after unfunny joke after unfunny joke after. Actually, do you see a pattern here? All of these characters are supposed to be played off for laughs, but they're not funny. They're kind of obnoxious. The old crew is funny regardless of its blatant stereotyping. Tank breaking the fourth wall to yell at the player and acknowledging how weird Call of Duty Zombies was funny and entertaining. McTuffin being a complete psychopath and yelling the most bizarre things that make no sense was funny and entertaining. Nikolai's thirst for vodka and quotes about how crazy his wives were, while not very funny, was entertaining at the least. And Takeo, yeah, he's pretty boring. These guys take simple concepts and take them to the extreme, which gives each character their own identity. Not only that, but they feel like they belong in Call of Duty Zombies. The Victis crew doesn't feel like they belong in Call of Duty Zombies, it feels like they belong on Disney Channel. Them being one-dimensional never pays off because they never take it to the extreme like they did with the old crew, making each of them annoying. With that out of the way, let's start the overall narrative of the zombie season. In between the time period of Moon and Victis, the world has fallen to chaos. However, we learn about a Group 95 wannabe called Broken Arrow. Broken Arrow is a secret group where scientists do experiments with element 115 to make scientific breakthroughs set in the United States. One of the facilities are located in Washington, and our group of characters hear the voice of, guess who? Dr. Maxis, who's able to communicate with everyone in the world instead of just being limited to zombie eaters. He tells that group of characters to visit a Broken Arrow facility in Washington to power up a tower. This tower actually has the power to strengthen either Maxis or Richtofen's power on Earth. However, Richtofen begins communicating with Stillinger since Stillinger can hear him because he ate zombies. Richtofen tries to persuade him to power up the tower to his favor. That's when we basically learn that there's two ways to complete the map, either do it in Maxis' favor or Richtofen's favor. The battle of power between Victofen and Maxis is not only interesting, but actually predates the beginning of the apocalypse. See, the Victis crew aren't the only people who was persuaded to do Victofen and Maxis' bidding. During the days when the facility in transit was still operational and inhabited, some workers were being persuaded to do Maxis' bidding, while other workers agreed to help Victofen. While others were harassed by either Maxis or both considering of what their diet consisted of. This started a war between the workers, and they either killed themselves in their war or zombies did the rest. However, before that, there's some things that went on in this facility. The staff created a new type of creature to use in warfare called denizens. These creatures specialize in clawing your face out. However, the creatures were never used and they were locked away in the dark. Since the denizens were locked away for so long, they naturally grew to prefer living in the dark, and after escaping, they just chill in the midst of the map, waiting for someone to run in. There's also a sub-boss to this map called the Avogadro, who is a being comprised of electricity. He's locked away in the facility until you inadvertently free him by cutting on the power. I would explain his backstory, but you guessed it, we don't get an explanation till 6 years later, and I am not going to cover that. And that's it as far as background goes. Anyways, Victis either powers up the tower for Richtofen or Maxis, depending on the player's choices. Overall, I like what this map sets up. Not only is the power struggle between Maxis and Richtofen interesting, but the history of Broken Arrow, their experiments, and civil war between Maxis and Richtofen is pretty interesting. While the characters aren't atrocious, the overall narrative is pretty decent so far. So now our characters are teleported by Richtofen to a crumbling city in Japan where the second tower is located. Our characters are weirded out and Samuel has a flashback to his days as a member of the Flesh. Because of this, he's about to get killed by a sub-boss introduced in this map called Jumping Jacks and Rushman saves him. Then unfortunately gets slaughtered right in front of Stillinger's eyes. Stillinger has to escape to a nearby elevator holding Misty and Martin, and the group descends to the next floor where an entire horde of zombies are raiding and the group gets torn to shreds. Didn't they reappear at the start of the map without any memory of what just happened? So this is the part where I give you a questionably logical explanation as to how Richtofen did this. Well, even though I know more than the average zombie player about the story since I am basically obsessed with it, there are even some things I don't know. Well, here's my theory. When the Lockers destroyed the Earth, it's confirmed that they created rifts in time, so maybe Richtofen utilized that to rewind time.
It's rewind time.
To revive our characters. We don't get a story explanation for the jumping jacks, but we do get some critical information about element 115 that's never revealed until now. It turns out long exposure to element 115 can actually give you short-term memory loss. Now we know in detail how Richtofen erased our old characters' minds. And that's it. Yeah, I know that was short, but barely any new story info is introduced on this map. You can either help Richtofen or Maxis depending on your preference. Okay, so here's even another thing I don't know. Instead of getting teleported to the next location, Victis walks all the way from Japan to Africa. That's a pretty long way to go. Not only that, but neither Richtofen nor Maxis have been communicating with our characters. They've been dead silent, so our characters have probably been spending close to a year walking to the next location. And no lie, they're able to get to the next location because Russman either knows or just has a feeling they're going the right way. I don't think this has been explained, nor does it make sense since Russman suffers from short-term memory loss. Speaking of which, I'm pretty sure you've already guessed by now, but it's revealed that the reason Russman has amnesia is because of his long exposure to element 115 at his job at the Broken Arrow facility. Anyways, the group has a short argument that Misty started, so it makes sense for her to be the wise one to stop the arguing. So the group find a zombified old western town that was teleported from one of the time warps in the earth and underground. Then that's when Richtofen starts speaking to Stillinger again. Yay, a fun character in this thing. So no lie, to my knowledge, no new story info is added in this map, and now it's time to decide who do you want to gain ultimate power, Maxis or Richtofen. If you choose Richtofen, he not only dooms our old characters, including Samantha, to be trapped on the moon till they die, but he also gives Maxis the Danos treatment and erases him out of existence. Well, that's a little overboard. And not only that, but he possesses Stillinger to replace his old body. Yeah, this is obviously the bad ending, so let's do the Maxis ending. Maxis gains access to the Aether and Agartha, so he not only reunites with his daughter, but he also tells that group the tiny inconvenience that urging everyone on it is going to die. And as a middle finger to Richtofen, he gives him a physical body by trapping him in the body of a zombie. Okay, so both endings have everyone screwed. Well, Black Ops 4 has revealed that Maxis' ending is canon, but that means the death of Victis, right? Well, it doesn't. In the Call of Duty Zombie comics, it's revealed a portal appeared before the Victis characters, and they escaped into it before Earth's complete destruction. After that, our Victis characters go on many adventures in alternate dimensions where fun is to be had and zombies are to be slain. Except Victis sucks and the storyline is garbage, and I hope I never see them again. Oh, come on, Black Ops 4. The Victis storyline had promise. The new apocalyptic setting is a nice change, and I appreciate some aspects of what humanity does, such as the Flesh Group and the war between their employees at the Broken Arrow facility. And the power struggles between Richtofen and Maxis was an awesome aspect of the zombie season. However, barely any new ideas are added throughout the story, and the characters are terrible. That's why I'm giving the Victis storyline a 2 out of 5. It was close to a 3 out of 5 if they had more world building, but unfortunately they don't. Next review, I'll be doing a full story and gameplay breakdown of Origins, which is technically the finale of Black Ops 2 Zombies, even though it isn't, but rather the start of an entirely new storyline, hence the name Origins. I'm excited to see you guys there. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, then please like and subscribe, and as always, I will see you guys next time. Peace, everyone.